Runner for real stunner. I'ma do my numbers. I'm like the glove on his prime, taking the ball from you. I'm a globe trotter. My 3 game off the chain. Man, I'm in the lane. LeBron James, I'ma bang that. Better get out my way. They see it in the stands. With Hamilton with the hands. Truck a slam dunk champ. The competition, man. Y'all ain't got a chance. Plus, like I hit that 3 with 3 seconds left, and I'm down by 2 in the last of a 7-game series to beat you. Who high? Y'all not.
In the last decade, several star players' free agency decisions have swayed the balance of power in the NBA. LeBron James in 2010, 2014, and 2018, Kevin Durant in 2016, and potentially his 2019 Brooklyn decision, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George teaming up with the Clippers in 2019, and with the next big star free agent, Giannis Antetokounmpo, in the summer of 2021. Giannis will be going for his 3rd contract this free agency, which is normally when star players decide to leave their teams if they do. Giannis signed a 4-year, $100 million extension with Milwaukee in September 2016 that didn't kick in until the 17-18 season, which means that in the summer of 2021 he will be an unrestricted free agent and free to sign anywhere. Throughout his extension, the Bucks have built a team capable of competing for an NBA title and finished with 60 wins last season, which was the best record in the league. After going up 2-0, the Bucks lost 4 straight to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals after some games where Giannis had 12 points, Chris Middleton had just 6, and Eric Bledsoe had just 8. The Bucks gave Giannis a championship-level roster, a top-tier head coach in Mike Budenholzer after Jason Kidd was fired, and potentially the richest contract in NBA history if he re-signs, which is a 5-year, $247 million supermax, according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. These are all great reasons for him to stay, including being the undisputed star player on his team and getting the love that players get when they're in small markets. But looking below the surface, the Bucks are backed into a corner financially, and it makes no sense why Giannis would want to stay. The Bucks stormed out to a 70-win pace before the NBA season was postponed because of COVID-19, and Giannis is about to win his 2nd straight MVP award. Chris Middleton was having a career 50-40-90 year, and the Bucks had the league's best interior defense and had a fortified bench with Robin Lopez, Kyle Korver, Dante DiVincenzo, and bringing in Wesley Matthews for a 3-and-D guy. The emergence of DiVincenzo as the 6th man has given them a new dimension with shooting and athleticism. But just as the Bucks were inches away from the finals last year, Malcolm Brogdon, their 2nd best player in last year's playoffs in box plus minus, was traded to Indiana to avoid having to pay him $86 million over 4 years. Is Brogdon worth that much? Probably not, but to the Bucks, not having him come playoff time might be problematic. He was a knockdown shooter and can create his own offense, something that they even struggled to do with him last year at times. It's not so much about the price as so far as about the optics and the message it sends to Giannis. We get this close, and now you don't want to re-sign one of our younger, emerging players? Wesley Matthews, who has bounced back nicely after his Achilles tear, has done a capable job this year for filling in for Malcolm Brogdon, but at age 33, it exposes the core problem of the Bucks. They have the oldest roster in the NBA and have relied on under-market contracts for older but still useful skilled players like Brook Lopez, 32, Robin Lopez, 32, George Hill at age 34, and Wesley Matthews at 33 to build an identity to be a complement to Giannis. It works, but it has a short shelf life. Even Eric Bledsoe is now 30 and is quickly leaving behind his best days. Middleton is 28, but questions remain if he's good enough to be your 2nd best player on a title team. Bledsoe and Middleton both had single-digit scoring outputs, like I said, against the Raptors, and before the Corona shutdown, we saw some of Middleton's limitations in marquee primetime games. And yes, Kyle Korver's age might skew this number a bit, but removing him still makes them the 3rd oldest team in the league. If I were Giannis, I would look at these 4 factors before signing with the team. Number 1, is the ownership willing to spend the luxury tax for a title contender? Number 2, does the roster have the assets that can be moved to bring in other more established players to play with me? Number 3, how long does the team I go to have to compete for a championship? Like, how long would the core last? Things such as that nature. Number 4, personal connections that make sense. Some of the Jalen Rose factors as well, like location, living, do I have friends on the team that I would like to play with? So with those 4 in mind, I have 3 teams and 1 dark horse, and the 3 teams don't include Milwaukee, but I'll still mention them for comparison purposes. First, looking at the ownership groups, while Mickey Arison, the Heat owner, has hit a bit of a financial rough spot with his Carnival Cruise Lines losing a ton of money during the coronavirus pandemic, the Heat have shown they are willing to spend for a title contender. The Heat are sneaky, and they can pounce back to relevancy when you least expect it. Trading for Shaq in 2006 and orchestrating the Big Three in 2010 and winning 3 total titles in that span shows that they're willing to do what it takes. Pat Riley is a shrewd operator, and his pull with free agents cannot be underestimated. This could be his last big title project as an executive, as he's getting up there in age. The Warriors and Joe Lacob have shown they are willing to spend whatever it takes to win a title and have committed to do the same after the pandemic. Whether or not this is true is yet to be seen, but this ownership group has come through on most promises, and General Manager Bob Myers has a track record of getting free agents to come for below-market deals to build a team capable of winning. The Warriors have had a front office turnover in recent seasons, but if Giannis is interested, the Warriors will for sure pounce. The Raptors and Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, the ownership group of the Raptors, isn't known to go free agent hunting, but with Masai Ujiri, who's one of the best at working within his situation, he can make things happen. Canada has never been an ideal spot for players, so the Raptors have never really had to entertain luxury tax discussions. Ujiri could find a way to get Giannis in the most economically efficient way possible. The question would be, could Giannis break historical precedent set and be the first big-name free agent to choose Toronto? That remains to be seen. Wes Edens and Mark Lazary have done an excellent job at getting the Bucks a new arena and building a roster around Giannis, but balked at the first possible extension for a member of their core. This to me is a sign that they face the same constraints as the Raptors, and we still don't know how much Brogdon's departure will hurt them in the long run. General Manager John Horst is one of the best at identifying scheme fits, but I am and Giannis should be skeptical that a big roster turnover is on the horizon. As far as the assets, the Heat, based on a recent report, are angling to keep their books clear for 2021 for players like Giannis, even if that means delaying a Bam Adebayo extension. Bam would most certainly stay as he's good friends with Giannis, and Jimmy Butler would be a selling point to create a big three. The big trade asset here is Tyler Hero, who half the league or more would want and could be used to either bring in more proven talent or to keep and develop because he's on a cheap rookie contract. Players like Myers Leonard, Goran Dragic, and Kelly Olynyk would likely find homes elsewhere anyway. And I believe the Heat and their management have the next 3 years all planned out. Their failed pursuit for Danilo Gallinari means they could also look to target him again later for more shooting. The Heat have future picks that they can flip and have enough to build a title contender in one summer. Kendrick Nunn has also blossomed and could be a contributor to Giannis if they choose to keep him. For the Warriors and Giannis, for that to work, serious roster moves would need to be made, but the Warriors have 3 potential assets they could use to make it work. First, the Warriors would likely not be able to sign him outright unless they move 2 out of the following 3 players: Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Draymond's contract isn't ideal, and Wiggins isn't either, but a team might take it if the Warriors included their first-round pick in 2021, which is unprotected from Minnesota. The Warriors could also trade their 2020 pick, expected to be in the top 3, for an established player. They also have a $17 million trade exception to fortify their bench this season and the next, with names like Marc Gasol, Marcus Smart, or Evan Fournier potentially coming. A team with Steph Klay and Giannis, or Steph Wiggins and Giannis, is a real possibility. Including Klay in a sign and trade is a long shot option, but to get Giannis, everyone is on the table. In order to make a Raptors signing work, Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, and potentially Kyle Lowry would have to be jettisoned. Ibaka is likely gone anyway, but the Raptors' best chance to entice him is hoping the Bucks play their cards poorly. The Raptors have the most assets to offer the Bucks if the Bucks decide to trade Antetokounmpo, but with the coronavirus and a shortened offseason moved into October, the chances of the Bucks moving Giannis then are almost none. Siakam is the only untouchable, so players like OG Anunoby, Terrence Davis, Norman Powell, and Lowry could be moved to build a better roster around Giannis. Knowing how savvy Toronto is with their player development, Giannis shouldn't have to fear that they can make it work. They're basically in the same situation as the Bucks, but with a smarter front office and a better second star in Siakam than Chris Middleton. And back to Milwaukee, the Bucks only have 2 assets that are intriguing in DiVincenzo and Bledsoe, but teams valuing Bledsoe likely wouldn't give anything of real value in a trade back. The Bucks have several unmovable players, and they don't have the draft capital to make up for it. They will continue to go the route of signing slightly older players and hoping it fits into Coach Bud's scheme. And maybe a team would want DJ Wilson or Sterling Brown, but it's unlikely. Middleton is too valuable to give up for what else they have, and the Bucks don't really feel that opportunistic to me, with most of their team building coming through trades to get guys like Nikola Mirotic, Eric Bledsoe, and Chris Middleton. They'll have a competitive team and the front office is capable of retooling, but this is the model that Oklahoma City used and it wasn't quite good enough. Any Giannis hesitancy to commit long-term will cause free agents to not be interested in the Bucks, which is what happened when Al Horford backed out of an agreement with the Thunder in the summer of 2016 when he couldn't get a clear yes from Kevin Durant. Moving on now to the core age. How old will the players be, not only right now for Giannis but into the future? While Jimmy Butler is 30 right now in the Heat, he still has 2 to 3 impactful years left, and Bam Adebayo is a rising star at age 22 and can help compensate as Butler ages. If the Heat decide to keep Hero and Duncan Robinson, you have 2 relatively young impactful shooters and an intriguing young player in KZ Okpala and Kendrick Nunn in addition. These are guys on cheap deals and they can keep around to contribute if they don't get flipped for someone like a Bradley Beal. Butler is better than Middleton, and Adebayo is better than the aging Lopez twins, so the core checks out in Miami if Giannis wants it. For the Warriors, while Curry would be approaching age 34 and Clay and Draymond being on the other side of 30, if Giannis plays with them, he will likely be the man anyway once they start aging. And with the Warriors being always an attractive free agent spot for not only great free agents but buyout candidates, there should be enough talent here for Giannis to have help. Curry's game should age well, and with the fresh legs coming in the draft, the roster will be replenished and they could use these young guys to ship for more established pieces. There's some risk here, but the Warriors are recent proven winners, which gives them an advantage over the Bucks and the Heat. For the Toronto Raptors, Pascal Siakam is only 26 and will grow to his peak at around the same time Giannis will. It's fun to imagine them two on the court together, but the questions elsewhere are big. Who replaces Van Vliet, Ibaka, and Lowry? There could be answers, but right now we just don't know. And because Giannis is moving from Milwaukee to Toronto, not a place like Los Angeles or Miami, they can't use a big market card as a recruiting pitch. Could Giannis continue Kawhi's momentum and grow basketball in Canada? Toronto was largely off the radar, and it took Kawhi willing them to the finals for them to establish national relevancy. The only players under contract in 2021 are Lowry, Siakam, McCaw, and OG Anunoby, with team options for Terrence Davis and shooter Matt Thomas. Toronto has room to go big game hunting, but will need a clear plan to present to Giannis in the free agency meeting. And for the Bucks, again, this core is aging other than Chris Middleton, and they don't have the luxury of the Raptors front office wizardry and a rising star in Siakam, who hasn't reached his ceiling. It feels like this is as good as Middleton will be, and it could be good enough to make the finals in the East, but it might take them winning this weird NBA Orlando playoff tournament for Giannis to be swayed to stay, which is entirely possible. The Bucks are working within the realities that their assets will come from a trade, and a lot of their players don't seem like they will command value, and their draft picks aren't appealing enough to flip. Bledsoe has been a poor playoff performer, and we need to see Middleton take that next playoff leap. I'm skeptical, largely because they are tied into Bledsoe and Lopez's contracts for 3 more years. For the personal factors, in Miami, Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley will get the most out of Giannis, and Spo has proven his playoff credentials. Him drafting Bam Adebayo second in the also draft, Giannis, isn't nothing, and will be a big part of the free agency pitch. Giannis seems like the type to mesh well with Butler's mindset, and the timing just seems perfect for this financially too, with most of their cap tied up in dudes to 1-year deals. Staying in the East would assure an easier path to the finals, with the Nets, Celtics, Sixers, and Raptors as the only competition if you were to go to Miami. The team with Butler, Adebayo, and Giannis would be the best defensive team in the league. For the Warriors, Curry's flirtations with Giannis were well documented, and they are connected somehow through agents and other business partnerships. Giannis has spoken several times on record about liking the Warriors' style of play, and a Bay Area pitch would definitely be appealing. There's more hurdles to clear than Miami, and the Warriors we have known won't be the same Warriors if Giannis were to come there. Curry holds the key, and he's done a good job of bringing in free agents like Andre Iguodala and Kevin Durant before. Kerr's coaching style fits better with Giannis' personality than it did with Durant, and it should be a good match. The ultimate wildcard in this whole free agency process is Masai Ujiri's relationship with Giannis and his family, which goes deeper than basketball. In 2013, with his work in Basketball Without Borders, Masai helped Giannis and his family attain Greek citizenship as they were Nigerian immigrants living illegally in Greece until then. Ujiri's connection with Basketball Without Borders is how he found Pascal Siakam as well, and his ties to players is something no other team on this list can offer. It will be a big selling point in free agency because Masai basically has a 7-year head start on everyone else. 2 of the 5 best internationals playing for the only non-US team is something that is a real possibility. Nick Nurse is an elite coach also, which helps Toronto. Giannis doesn't have to worry about the best scheme to stop him if he's playing for the team that had that scheme to stop him. And lastly, the Bucks have the loyalty factor. The Bucks were one of the few teams who scouted him as aggressively as they did, and introduced him to America and basically made his transition easier. He has deep involvement with the Milwaukee community, and if anyone would stay with a small market team, Giannis seems like the dude that would. It's a strong card that the Bucks have, but with the playoff exit or weird contract talks, we've seen players in the past not value loyalty as much. Same with the 5-year Supermax. Players don't care about it as a factor in staying somewhere, and it will probably be revised and removed in the next CBA negotiation. Think players like DeMarcus Cousins and Kawhi Leonard. So, before I list the best possible place I think Giannis should go, I will mention a dark horse team, the Chicago Bulls. Now, you may think I'm crazy, but recent management change and an impending coaching change will see the Bulls having an overhaul in the coming years. They have several young assets like Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., Zach LaVine, and Kobe White to move if necessary, and with cap space to bring in Giannis plus another player, similar to what the Clippers did with Paul George and Kawhi, it would be tough for him to turn down. It would also be tough for him to go to a division rival, but new general manager Mark Eversley and Arturas Karnisovas, who built a great team in Denver drafting players like Yusuf Nurkic and Nikola Jokic. He has a great feel for international scouting, and Giannis would be drawn to that as well. He's going to make serious noise in Chicago, and I'm very intrigued by the project Karnisovas has putting together. The timeline may be too soon for Giannis, but his girlfriend's cousin just got drafted by the Bears, and she posted a tweet saying, "Can't wait to be near you." It could be staying in Milwaukee, of course, but the Chicago project is tempting, and it'll be one that I'm watching very closely to see if they can land a big free agent in the coming years. With this said, where do you guys think Giannis should go? For me personally, I think the Heat have the most flexibility to build a good team, and they can make a finals year after year in a weaker conference, which is the East. So Miami, get ready for the Greek Freak in 2021.